The haunting of Blackwood Manor. For years, Blackwood Manor stood abandoned on the edge of the dense, fog-shrouded forest. Locals whispered about it, their tales woven with warnings and half-truths. They spoke of the previous owners, the Whitmore family, who vanished without a trace one stormy night decades ago. The house had been left untouched ever since, its broken windows staring out like hollow eyes, its doors creaking as if sighing in despair. When 28-year-old Evelyn Gray inherited the property from a distant relative she'd never met, she was more intrigued than frightened. Recently divorced and seeking a fresh start, Evelyn saw the house as an opportunity, both for escape and restoration. She moved in on a gray November afternoon, the wind howling as if protesting her arrival. The first few days were uneventful. Evelyn scrubbed decades of grime from the kitchen, uncovered elegant woodwork beneath layers of peeling paint, and marveled at the ornate chandeliers that hung in the grand dining room. She ignored the odd cold drafts and the occasional sound of footsteps on the upper floor, chalking them up to the house settling. Then the whispers began. At first they were faint, just a soft murmur when Evelyn was on the cusp of sleep. She'd wake to silence, telling herself it was nothing more than her overactive imagination. But soon the whispers grew louder, distinct enough to form words. "Leave! Now!" Evelyn tried to laugh it off, but her unease deepened. On the fourth night, she woke to the sound of scratching. It came from inside the walls, a frantic, clawing sound that sent chills down her spine. Grabbing a flashlight, she followed the noise to the basement, a place she had avoided thus far. The air grew colder as she descended the stairs. The beam of her flashlight revealed cobweb-covered furniture and crates. In the corner, a large mirror stood tilted against the wall. It was antique, with an ornate silver frame tarnished by time. As Evelyn approached, her flashlight flickered and went out. She cursed under her breath and fumbled to turn it back on. When the light returned, her reflection wasn't alone. Behind her, a figure loomed, a shadowy silhouette with glowing, hollow eyes. Evelyn screamed and spun around, but no one was there. She turned back to the mirror, and it showed nothing but her own terrified expression. From that moment, the house seemed alive. Doors slammed shut on their own. Objects moved to places she hadn't left them. At night, Evelyn heard laughter, high-pitched and mocking, echoing through the halls. She started sleeping with the lights on, though it did little to comfort her. Desperate for answers, Evelyn visited the town library, digging into the history of Blackwood Manor. What she found made her blood run cold. The Whitmore family had been involved in seances and occult rituals, seeking to communicate with the dead. One evening, during a particularly violent storm, they attempted to summon a spirit of unimaginable power. Witnesses claimed they saw lightning strike the house multiple times before a deafening silence fell. When neighbors investigated the next day, the Whitmores were gone, their fates unknown. Evelyn's heart pounded as she read the final line of the report. It is said that the Whitmores never truly left. That night, Evelyn decided to leave. She stuffed a bag with essentials and headed for the front door. But as she reached for the handle, it refused to budge. No matter how hard she pulled or pushed, the door remained shut. Panicking, she tried the windows. They were all sealed tight. The whispers grew louder, surrounding her. She spun around, her breath hitching as the air grew thick with the stench of decay. Shadows danced along the walls, coalescing into human-like shapes. The tallest of them stepped forward, its featureless face inches from hers. "You can't leave," it hissed, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. "You're part of the house now." The shadows lunged, and everything went black. Days later, a realtor visited Blackwood Manor, having received no response from Evelyn to her calls. She found the house silent, cold, and empty, except for a large antique mirror in the basement. In the reflection, if you looked closely, you could see Evelyn. She stood frozen, her mouth open in a silent scream, trapped forever in the glass. The mirror waited patiently for the next owner.